Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. I have a story that will give you chills, so grab a blanket, turn off the lights, and let's dive in. This story is about something truly strange that happened to me, something I still can't fully explain. It all began when I was 16, during a summer trip with a group of friends. We planned to visit Vung Tau for a fun getaway before heading to Saigon. 8 of us set out, full of excitement, and I remember everything seemed like just another adventure. After a few amazing days in Vung Tau, we decided to extend our trip with an impromptu night in Saigon. We were running low on cash, so we needed a cheap place to stay. It was late, almost midnight, and after roaming around, we finally stumbled upon an old hotel in the Tan Po district. It was shabby and dimly lit, but we were tired and out of options, so we decided to stay the night. From the moment we stepped inside, something felt off. The lobby was almost pitch black, except for the faint glow of a single light bulb hanging near the kitchen. The entire place seemed deserted. The receptionist barely looked up when we entered. She handed us the keys and muttered, "Room 202. Thanks," I said, but she just turned away, her eyes vacant. I remember shivering as we walked up the dark staircase. The air was so cold and heavy that it made my skin crawl. "This place gives me the creeps," my friend whispered, glancing around nervously. "Yeah, let's just get to the room quickly," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. My friend stumbled, nearly falling, as we made our way up. It seemed like just bad luck, but in hindsight, I think it was a warning. After dropping our bags, we all decided to explore the city a bit more before calling it a night. "Come on, let's go check out the night market," my boyfriend Tuan said, trying to lighten the mood. "You guys go ahead, I'll be right there," I called out as I adjusted my shoes. I was the last one out, and as I opened the door to leave, I saw a figure standing in the hallway. It looked like one of my friends, so I called out, "Hey, wait up." But they didn't respond, didn't even turn around. "Quit messing around," I said, feeling a tinge of annoyance. But as I approached, the figure suddenly moved away, disappearing down the staircase without a sound. When I caught up with the group downstairs, I asked, "Why did you ignore me like that?" It wasn't funny. They all looked confused. None of them had been upstairs. "What are you talking about?" "We were all waiting here," Tuan said, frowning. That's when I felt a sense of unease settle into my bones. I tried to shake it off as we wandered the streets of Saigon, but the feeling lingered. We walked through the bustling night market, the colorful stalls and bright lights doing little to lift my spirits. The smell of street food filled the air, and people were laughing and chatting all around us, but I couldn't shake the eerie feeling that something was wrong. Every time I looked over my shoulder, I half expected to see that shadowy figure following us. "Hey, are you sure you're okay?" Tuan asked again, noticing my distracted expression. I forced a smile. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just tired, I guess." But deep down, I knew it was more than that. When we returned to the hotel, the atmosphere was even stranger. The room felt colder, and there was an unnatural silence, as if the entire building was holding its breath. "Is it just me, or is it freezing in here?" Mai asked, rubbing her arms. "It's definitely colder," I replied, glancing at the dark corners of the room. We all decided to play cards to lighten the mood, but I couldn't focus. My head felt heavy, and irritation kept bubbling inside me for no reason. "Hey, are you okay?" Tuan asked, touching my arm gently. "I don't know," I muttered. "I just feel off." I wasn't myself that night. Every little thing seemed to set me off, and I could feel this strange, unexplainable anger building inside me. It was like I was fighting against something I couldn't see. "Maybe you just need some sleep," Mai suggested, her eyes filled with concern. I nodded, hoping she was right. We all decided to turn in for the night, and as I lay down, I pulled the blanket tightly around me, trying to ignore the chill that seemed to seep into my bones. It must have been around 3 a.m. when I woke up suddenly, my body ice cold. The others were asleep, huddled under their blankets. I looked towards the balcony, and there, standing in the shadows, was that same figure. It wasn't moving. It was just watching. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. "Tuan," I tried to whisper, my voice barely audible. I turned my head to wake my boyfriend, but he was fast asleep. When I looked back at the balcony, it was empty. I lay there, heart pounding, for what felt like hours. Every creak of the building made me jump, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Eventually, exhaustion took over, and I drifted back into an uneasy sleep. The next morning, I felt exhausted, as if I hadn't slept at all. My friends noticed the bruises on my wrist, deep, dark marks like someone had gripped me tightly. "What happened to your wrist?" Mai asked, her eyes wide with concern. I shook my head. I don't know. "We need to get out of here," Tuan said firmly, packing up his things. We decided to leave as soon as possible. As we packed up, I glanced back at the room one last time, feeling a strange pull. Part of me wanted to stay, as if something was whispering, telling me not to leave. "Come on, let's go," Tuan urged, snapping me out of my daze. Months later, I kept having dreams about a man. A tall, shadowy figure who would take me by the hand and lead me to strange, unfamiliar places. Dark forests, murky waters, abandoned buildings. Each time he would offer me something, a fruit, a flower, a ring. Each time, I refused. "Take it," the figure would say, his voice echoing in my mind. "No, I can't," I would reply, shaking my head. One night, he took me to a riverbank and asked if I would be his. "Why won't you say yes?" he demanded, his voice growing harsher. "I can't, I have someone else," I said, my voice trembling. His face twisted in anger, and he pulled me towards the water, the cold rushing over my legs, and then I woke up, drenched in sweat. The dreams kept coming, always more vivid, until one day they stopped. I thought it was over, but the strange occurrences weren't done with me yet. Even after I moved to a new city, I could still feel his presence. A shadow lurking just out of sight, an inexplicable chill on a warm night. One evening, as I was unpacking boxes in my new apartment, I felt it again, that same coldness. The room seemed to darken, and I knew deep down that he was still there. "He's still here, isn't he?" I whispered to myself one night, feeling the familiar cold. I tried to ignore it, but it was always there, like a weight on my shoulders. It wasn't until I sought help from a spiritual healer that I finally found some peace. She told me I had a spirit attached to me, one that had grown possessive. After a long ritual, she assured me that I was free. "You must be careful," the healer said, her eyes serious. "He may try to come back, but you are stronger now." The ritual itself was intense. The healer burned incense and chanted prayers, her voice echoing through the small room. I could feel a pressure building inside me, like something was trying to hold on, refusing to let go. But as the ritual went on, I felt that pressure slowly lift, until finally it was gone. The air felt lighter, and for the first time in months, I could breathe freely. That night, I remember walking home, feeling a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. The world seemed brighter, the air felt fresher, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I felt truly alive. I went to bed that night without fear, and I slept soundly, free from the nightmares that had plagued me for so long. Today, I am happily married, with a beautiful child and a life that feels full. But sometimes, late at night, I wonder if he's still out there, waiting, watching, hoping for a chance to come back. There are moments when I catch a glimpse of a shadow out of the corner of my eye, or feel an unexpected chill, and I can't help but wonder if it's him. One night, after putting my child to bed, I sat by the window, staring out at the dark street below. A shiver ran down my spine, and I felt that familiar cold. My husband walked over, wrapping his arms around me. "Everything okay?" he asked softly. I leaned into him, closing my eyes. "Yeah," I said, trying to convince myself. "Just a memory." There are still moments when I think back to that old hotel in Tanpur, and I wonder what would have happened if we had stayed longer, if I had accepted whatever it was that spirit offered me in those dreams. Would I still be here today? Would I have been pulled into some dark abyss, lost forever? I don't have the answers, and maybe I never will. One day, I decided to visit the healer again, just to check in. She welcomed me with a warm smile and a knowing look, as if she could sense my lingering doubts. We sat down for tea, and she listened patiently as I told her about the occasional cold spots, the fleeting glimpses of shadows. "You are stronger now," she repeated. "He cannot harm you anymore." Spirits like that, they feed on fear, on uncertainty. You must stay confident and resolute. He has no power over you unless you let him. Her words gave me comfort, but deep down, there was still a part of me that remained on edge, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. I wanted to believe her, truly, but the experiences I had were too vivid to ever completely forget. One day, as I was cleaning out the attic, I came across an old photo album from my teenage years. I flipped through the pages, smiling at the memories. Then, I found a picture from that summer trip to Vung Tau. It was a group photo, me, Tuan, Mai, and the others, all smiling at the camera. But something caught my eye in the background. A shadow, barely noticeable, standing just behind us, almost blending into the darkness. My breath caught in my throat, and I felt that chill again. I showed the picture to my husband, who tried to dismiss it as just a trick of the light. But I knew better. I could feel it in my bones. It was him. Since then, I've kept the photo hidden away, buried deep in a box somewhere in the attic. I haven't had the courage to look at it again. Life has moved on, and I have tried my best to leave the past behind. But sometimes in the dead of night, when the world is silent and my family is fast asleep, I feel it, that cold, lingering presence, a reminder that some things never truly leave us. Thank you for sticking with me through this chilling tale. If you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I've got plenty more stories where this one came from, and I promise, they'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Until next time, stay safe and remember, not everything is as it seems.